is up, you guys? My name is Eric V, and welcome to episode 46 of the Real Radar Radio Show. This is the first episode of 2018. We are on a come up here. Year's already good enough to an interesting start. I mean, I wouldn't want to, wish anybody else any other, way of thinking, hey, you know what? This year is actually, starting out the way you wanted to. If you've actually made resolutions and you stuck to them, kudos, man. I mean, you did it. You made it to this point, I guess what? 14 days into the new year. I mean, you've actually held on and did your best. I've actually lost weight. Surprisingly, I don't know how, but I lost weight. I want to say I lost at least 8 pounds so far. So I want to say that's actually pretty good. A pretty good start somewhere. I mean, I've cut out the bad stuff. I've kind of pushed myself into this different direction. I haven't really gone to work out, so much, but I've kind of cut back on a few things and changed the way I've eaten a few things from now on. So I mean, I'm not regularly hitting the dollar menu at McDonald's, which, by the way, they have a new dollar menu, which tempted, but don't. Okay, so I'm not going to even try to match that. But aside from all that, aside from my own personal triumphs and trying to get to where I need to be, there's just so much to talk about this year, guys. I mean, there's so much that's going on that a lot of you can relate to, in means of there being good things are coming this year, whether it's for your job, it's for your personal life, whether it's for you're seeing somebody, you're talking to somebody, and you're trying to get to that next step, or you're in a relationship and you're finding yourself in this level of comfortability where you want to see it blossom into something bigger. Hey, it happens. That's part of life. We all have to really embrace our lives and grow on them and make them better than what we are. So I was off for an entire month from school. I got to enjoy time off and relax and catch up on sleep and watch some Stranger Things. I still refuse to watch the last 2 episodes of season 2 because I just don't want it to end yet. And with everything else, I binge watch and then I'm disappointed because I have nothing else to watch. So I'm preserving those last 2 episodes of Stranger Things, the second season, because I really want to hang on to it just a little bit longer. I spent the whole weekend binge watching the entire second season, except for those last 2 episodes. And I felt pretty guilty, so I was just like, shit. I don't want it to end, so I'm really preserving them, like, really bad. And aside from that, we're on a hiatus from Walking Dead, so there's also that. But then again, I haven't even watched this season of Walking Dead, and I've already heard things happen and shit happens, all thanks to social media. So I mean, there's that too. So thanks a lot, Facebook, for fucking ruining what I can expect with The Walking Dead. But it's give or take. I mean, you'll eventually find out what's happening through word of mouth, people's posts and stuff like that. I, on the other hand, just so happened to just run into it because I'm looking up some topic or some article or something movie related where I can discuss it on the show, and I kind of run into this whole, oh my god, Walking Dead news, let me check this out. What do you mean this happened? Like, oh shit. So that's kind of a disappointment on my end. So that's why I kind of avoid social media during times of watching shows or binge watching, because there's people out there that actually enjoy ruining the plot for you, ruining the whole gist of the whole story. I remember there was this one year we went to go watch The Dark Knight Rises. And we watched The Dark Knight Rises, that people were talking about, the Colorado shooting, that happened in Colorado, and the very tragic events that ensued, with that movie premiere, and there was just so much, controversy surrounding just that situation alone. I remember that we were there. I was in line with some friends waiting to watch the movie, and there's this one idiot. We'll just call him idiot. There's this one idiot who came out of the theater, and he was just like, "Oh man, I can't believe they hired the ushers to dress as armed people, and they were just standing there throughout the entire film, throughout the entire movie." That worried a lot of people because this situation had just happened days prior to us going to this event. So it was really unnerving and stuff. So turns out him and his buddy were laughing about this whole thing, and it made a lot of people in my line that we were waiting for very uneasy, very what the hell is this guy talking about? But aside from all that, there's just so much more that people can do to either ruin the film for you or make it worse than what it is, and or make it worse than what it seems, but in reality it's badass. I mean, if you're a fan of Star Wars, you expect to be in the line and not hear anybody discuss the film while they're coming out and say something that's possibly spoiler revealing or something that's not supposed to be talked about in general public after amongst other people that are waiting in line to see the same movie that you just saw. And I think that's why we also have, early screenings on Thursdays and stuff, because the hardcore movie fans, such as myself and such as other people, that you may like to go to early screenings on Thursdays, before the initial release of the movie on Fridays. I believe there's a reason for that, because not a lot of people would want to, wait another day just to find out what happens in the movie when you can just go and watch it the day before and then ruin it for everybody else on social media, which happened with Star Wars. With The Force Awakens, when it was revealed that Harrison Ford's character Han Solo died in the movie, that article, that video clip, hit the internet just an hour or two just into the day on Thursday. So I mean, a lot of people saw it. Obviously, media, screenings and free screenings were given and stuff. People, just ruin the movie for one another. So there's that. It's just horrible. I hate people that go out of their way to just make people wonder. Oh, if you're wondering about this happen, well, this shit happens. But enjoy the movie. That's the most annoying shit ever. Like, you wouldn't want somebody to do that to you. So I have to say, honestly, that's probably one of the most annoying fucking things you can ever experience at a theater or on social media, whatever the case may be. Whether you watch, you binge watch shows on Netflix, or you're in line to go watch a movie at the theater. Someone's bound to ruin it for you, and it's a bad experience. I mean, you wouldn't want that. So, but aside from all that, aside from this whole tirade, me talking about this whole spiel, I wanted to open up the book back on this Fox and Disney deal, because it's being talked about way more frequently than we should. A lot of people are thinking that the upcoming Captain Marvel film will introduce a new regime of the X-Men characters that we know. Given the fact that this deal has came really close to the end of Infinity Wars, wrapping production and early production of Avengers 4, the follow up for Infinity War. It's pretty fresh, and it's pretty elaborate, knowing that somewhere in between these films, somewhere down the road, we'll have a new iteration of the X-Men, or we'll have a new Fantastic Four team up, or we'll have somebody else introduced into the MCU. Could be Fantastic Four, could be X-Men. Disney now owns Deadpool, so that's pretty hardcore. How you gonna censor this character who's very vulgar and very in your face and very fourth wall breaking. It sucks. I mean, you wouldn't want to do that. I mean, it's hard. It's hard enough that Disney has to give this Deadpool film a hard R rating because you know they're gonna let the Deadpool film carry on the R rating because this film was made after the Fox deal. I mean during the Fox deal, before the Fox deal. Sorry, was made before the Fox deal, and principal production already wrapped up. We're in post production already. People are still mixing sound, adding effects, adding everything else that needs to be mixed in with the film to properly have everything working together the right way. And then we have this deal happen, and it kind of throws a wrench in Fox's plans because Fox was really expecting a deal to come through as early as the end of the year, but hey, it happened. So I mean, what can we expect now after the deal has been made, and now that we're moving on into this new phase of not just the MCU but this new year 2018? Well, we can expect a whole lot actually. I mean, there's so much more to be played out in regards to just the Disney and Fox deal because again, Family Guy is celebrating their 300th episode. Now, how is that going to play into the whole Disney and Fox deal? I'll tell you. Family Guy celebrating the 300th episode. Is Disney really going to let Family Guy run its course and keep going and keep running as a subsidiary as Fox that people don't really know about? Because now that people know about what properties came with the deal and what's going on, Family Guy is one of them. The Simpsons are one of them. The Simpsons have been on air for the longest time. We're already 30 something seasons deep into this this cartoon. And for Family Guy to celebrate the 300th episode is a big milestone, yeah. But I mean, how we move forward from this? Or do we continue this? Disney likes to keep a clean cut image and tries to keep things very under wraps, keep things very happy go lucky, and gonna keep things pretty much PG rated. And for best quality, for best demographic sake, yeah, it's deemed acceptable, yeah. But in other terms, in other times, it's more of like a why there's so much more that Disney has been involved in, just controversy with just subliminal messaging in their movies and all these other tall tales about things happening, and the things that happen at these amusement parks, and in light of these sexual allegations too that's going on, especially with this all these sexual allegations of these artists and entertainers and performers coming to light. Aziz Ansari, as of today, was just accused of sexual misconduct. Aziz Ansari, I mean, he's you look at him, you don't think somebody of his stature, somebody of his character would do something like that to a woman. But apparently this happened on a date with a woman he dated back in September of last year. The woman claimed that that was probably the worst experience of a date she's never been on. Now the details of what happened or what went on, very scarce. No one's saying nothing, but still, Aziz Ansari, the newest accused of sexual misconduct. I'm sure that it's possibly possibly true, maybe. The only people that know the truth about this is the people who were involved. That's it. Done deal. We can sit here and point fingers to a lot of people saying that this happened and this happened, and we're quick to judge about people about what's going on and everything, but we're missing the bigger picture here about how this type of conduct and this type of sexual chemistry, unwanted sexual chemistry between those who are in power, those who want to berate and belittle those who who are in dire need of a job or money or a position or role, anything that they're striving for, and it goes beyond just the entertainment industry. It goes beyond movies and music and film. It goes into our personal lives, into reality, into our careers, and it has to stop somewhere, right? I mean, you would think that somebody like Harvey Weinstein, who was very, you know, kept under wraps about a few things because not a lot of people knew about Harvey Weinstein until his allegations came out. Think about it that way. I mean, Harvey Weinstein was more of a guy who was a behind the scenes, producer. He was, part of this, the Weinstein Company with his brother, and he went on to do, these produce, such hit films of a huge, blockbuster status, and he's done it. And you know what? Very successful. Yes, very successful. Very uh, straightforward about all these successes that he's experienced in the industry. Yes, successful. Yes, but I mean, to what degree? I mean, to what stature do you have to be? In this whole charade of activity that's going on. I mean, you are a top movie producer who's possibly got it all, who's got everything that you could possibly ever want in the world. I mean, there's guys out there, people out there who wish to have your job, who are struggling to actually, who are artists who are very hungry, who for a piece of what you have, a piece of the good life, a piece of the good life where you can go to work and you can meet celebrities and do make up your own agendas and do what you have to do, and you're in the movie business and and it's ever growing, and there's a lot of people that want that. You're in a position of power where you feel like you're more superior than the people below you. That does not give you any right to act the way you do. I'm sorry, but I have to say that these women are right. I mean, there's no need, there's no place for all this misconduct to happen. I mean, it's disgusting. It is. It truly is. And you're probably wondering why I'm talking about this. Why am I bringing this up? A month after a little bit time after these allegations and all these stuff happened with Harvey Weinstein. I'll tell you why. Because there was when the beginning of this whole coming out, came out, and everybody was ready, on board, and everything was falling like dominoes for Weinstein, and everything was coming out with allegations with this guy. It was all this other stuff that came out with other celebrities too, like Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey, for the longest time, has been one of Hollywood's most prolific actors because he's just that kind of guy. I really loved him in Horrible Bosses. He was, fantastic. He was hilarious. And, K-Pax. Yeah, everybody remember K-Pax. I remember him when he was in Superman Returns. I remember him from, that movie 21. It was just, there's just so much more that go along with it. But at the same time, you find yourself wondering, a guy like this who has, possibly everything going for him in the world, you get paid to pretend to be somebody else that you're not. You're an actor. You take on the role of these characters who either invigorate a story and add to a story and make the story more enjoyable and more believable and that much more fun. And all these allegations and news come out that you're this deviant of this nature, and those fans that you had, those people that followed you and love you, those fans probably got dashed in half because now you're facing all these other accusations and everything that's coming out because it's the cat's out of the bag. And for those of you that follow Family Guy really closely, that was a joke that was made about Kevin Spacey and him having kids in his basement locked away for the longest time before these allegations came out. Don't believe me? Look it up. Type in Family Guy, Kevin Spacey, joke before allegations or something, somewhere along those lines. You'll see that this joke was made several years ago, and it's very, very weird. I mean, you really don't want to believe it, but I mean, believe it. I mean, honestly, it's out there. For the life of me, I really can't remember what season it was or what year it happened, but it happened. So it's puzzling to me as to why something like this would happen, especially, with celebrities. Like I said, you're an individual who has it all. You get paid big money to act in a movie, to be someone who you're playing in a role, and you do this weird perversive shit that is gonna come back and bite you in the ass. Especially if you're a big ass celebrity, such as Kevin Spacey or your Harvey Weinstein, who people are just going after left and right, with good cause, with good reason. So I mean, I've like I said, I talk about this because a lot of people were coming out about this whole Harvey Weinstein thing, and then the whole Kevin Spacey thing happened, and then now we're going through like a list of charade of people such as Sylvester Stallone, and we're talking about James Franco, and we're talking about Aziz Ansari, and the list goes on. There's so many of the people involved in this thing that we don't know what else is going to happen, what else is going to surface. So I mean, we don't know where to go from here. Who knows? This Time's Up movement and the Me Too movement is just getting started. And I can guarantee you that there's going to be more stories, more allegations, more articles, more women coming forward about, these different type of things that happened. Elijah Dushku, who was also in Bring It On, and who was also part of, smaller films and other things as well. She was a little girl from True Lies. She was in Bring It On. She was in several other films and independent films also. She also came out and accused of the top stunt coordinator for True Lies as, accused this, came forward about this guy, not accused, that's sorely, sour, but she came forward and she, mentioned that this, top stunt coordinator was, this type of person. He abused her. He committed this, type of conduct in front of her or to her in some way, level or form, and it happened. The guy denies it. James Cameron comes out and says that Elijah Dushku is brave and empowering for coming out, for saying something like this or speaking her mind. Very courageous. Now we got people who are lining up around, Hollywood saying, this type of thing happens, and we've known this type of thing happens. Corey Feldman has gone on to say that these type of things happen, and he was right. He was right about many things. He was right about what happened to him and Corey Haim. He was right about the pedophilia that's going on in Hollywood. He was right. And I wouldn't say that anybody out there would doubt, Corey Feldman, because, hey, I mean, straight out of the mouth from, somebody who's seen it, firsthand and who's witnessed this, is blatantly telling you this shit's happening. But yet we sit here with a thumb up our ass and we're wondering, when's this new movie going to come out? Or when are we going to get this new album? A lot of celebrities go through a lot of deals, and they go through a lot, they deal with a lot of pressure, and they I can imagine what they must be going through on a daily basis. It's tough. It's horrible. But, I mean, again, like I said, more of these stories and more of these women coming forward is going to continue to happen, because, there's women out there who are finding the courage and the self-righteousness in them to come forward and, say what's right and say the truth and say what's going on. So I encourage, those women. I support y'all, and I hope that things that are coming to light will eventually be resolved and be a stepping stone toward a healthier future for not just those that are affected, but those who those in the future who wish to take the next step in their careers or in their lives or in their personal lives, and outside of just just the industry. It means so much more for those who are learning about these things, to know the the right way to go about these things. And, I'm not saying that there's a wrong way. I'm not saying there's a right way. I'm just saying that I hope and pray that there's, a way that, we can all just, unify and unite and, come together as one and really support one another. So there's that. I'm done talking about this. I don't want to talk about it anymore because there's so much other things to talk about and discuss up in the show, because I don't want to make this first episode of 2018 somber. I don't want it to make it seem like it's, dull or boring, because it's not. Talking about these topics is not boring. It's not dull or anything like that. It's just, I'd rather not, because it's out of respect of those, and out of respect of, the women who were brave and courageous, who, took this step forward to make things right and to, just speak their mind and speak what's going on in their lives. So I encourage you and I applaud you. Thank you. So big changes that are happening with Real Radar in 2018. A lot of you guys noticed that when you go to the YouTube, when you go to YouTube and you see a bunch of my episodes scrambled and messed up and out of order and out of whack, and part 1 and part 2 and part 3 of, my shows. Well, I recently found out that my episodes were in 15-minute increments. Not what I expected. I truly apologize if you had to, listen to a few episodes that were just out of order and, it didn't really make sense. I apologize. I resolved the issue. I have gone to YouTube and I've gone and spoken to, YouTube studios and gotten the whole, this whole deal, fixed and kind of ironed out. So now, after this episode, starting with this episode, now on YouTube, you guys will be able to experience the full episode in its entirety in one video. So, again, I apologize. I fixed the issue. The issue is resolved. I'm happy to report that, you'll finally get a full episode in one video. No more part 1, part 2, part 3. So check back regularly with my channel on YouTube. I bring you guys the best and the freshest news and everything that I can discuss, whether it's my personal life, whether it's in the movie and entertainment industry, video games, music, comics, everything that I can cover. It's all right here waiting for you at Real Radar. Before I move on, since we're still on the subject of YouTube, I have signed up to do a partnership with YouTube. I have signed up to do a ad, monetization with YouTube. So I would really hope and appreciate that everybody who's listening to this episode to please visit my YouTube channel, listen to my episodes. I have a few videos up there about a few trailers and a few projects that we've been working on, that we've worked on in the past, and one that's near and dear to my heart is a Nightmare on Elm Street video, which, by the way, is just blowing my mind right now with just the story alone that I'm carefully crafting. It's a teaser video. It's a teaser video for Nightmare on Elm Street. This remake not this remake, but this reimagining that I'm working on. I'm really proud of it. So you guys just please go check it out. I'd really appreciate the help and really appreciate the feedback on, these videos. So just let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment in the section below on YouTube. DM me, tweet me, whichever. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. Find me. I'm all over the place. I also have my personal account. If you guys, see it, it's linked in my Twitter and in my Snapchat. I need to go put it on the Instagram. All that stuff is intertwined with all together. So, give me a shout, give me a follow, give it a thumbs up. Share this episode with your friends. Let everybody know that, Real Radar is coming to take over 2018. So I really, truly appreciate everything that you guys, have done for me as of late. And thank you all for listening to the entirety of the show. There's just so much more to talk about. with just this episode alone. There's just so much going on. So thank you all for that. You know, it's all coming together. So anybody catch Saturday Night Live last night? Sam Rockwell was the host. Bill Murray returned for the cold opening monologue. So did Fred Armisen. It was really funny. You don't get to see a few clips on it on YouTube. But one of the things I wanted to talk about that was really funny. Well, a couple of things. The Weekend Report with Michael Che and Colin Jost was pretty hilarious. Colin Jost was mentioning about the whole tirade with Donald Trump talking about Haiti and the Haitians and talking about shithole countries. He said it on air. He actually said, shitholes. He wasn't supposed to. But you guys can see the video online. It's practically everywhere now. He was talking about, President Trump calling, a certain country, S-holes, but, NBC told him to say S-holes because he wasn't allowed to say shitholes. So now he says shitholes, and he, immediately, retracted, what he said just immediately right on air. And you can tell, the look on his face was just like, oh shit, I can't believe I said it, but I said it. But it doesn't go beyond that. Earlier in the episode, during a segment of Sam Rockwell doing an episode of Mr. Wizard, this 80s themed science segment that they were doing along with Cecily Strong and Mikey Day in the skit, he said that he dropped an F-bomb live on air. So it was very funny, very interesting because Saturday Night Live is pretty sketchy when it comes to things happening like that going on. Bands like Prince and System of a Down have dropped the F-bombs occasionally once in there when they were performing on the show. So it was pretty interesting to see and I like how Cecily Strong and Mikey Day went along with the whole spiel on air, and you can tell that there was that moment of embarrassment. So kudos to you guys for playing it off and like it was nothing. It was truly, very funny. I enjoyed it. I really look forward to watching the rest of the episode. Especially with Sam Rockwell. He's a very good actor. I saw him in that movie Choke, based on the book by Chuck Palahniuk, and it was just funny, man. I've never seen Sam Rockwell in that kind of light of acting. So it was kind of like, damn, Sam Rockwell, you're scary. So, I mean, you guys gotta go check it out. It's called Choke. It's got Helen Mirren and Sam Rockwell. I totally recommend it. Kind of talking about, going back to these the inequality in Hollywood, about how everything was going on with I don't know if you guys heard about that article about All the Money in the World with Michelle Williams and Mark Wahlberg and Christopher Plummer. That was another movie that was supposed to have starred Kevin Spacey, but in lieu of this accusations and everything that's going on, he was replaced by Christopher Plummer, which was a great deal. Christopher Plummer is a very, very well established actor. He's very well received by the audience, and people love him. But the main gist about this article involving All the Money in the World, this production, was that Michelle Williams was paid right under the margin of Mark Wahlberg, and a lot of people came to her defense of saying that there's the inequality going on about him being paid more than her because he's a man and she's a woman. There was that inequality again. There's the whole people talking with a foot up their ass again. Foot in your mouth. Whatever the case is, it's bad. You're working just as hard as your counterpart. Why aren't you getting paid equally? So, all this has happened, in recently. So, turns out Mark Wahlberg donated, I believe it was all of his salary from the production of his role to the Time's Up movement. I don't know if that does anything in lieu of, him being, just an asshole, or him just being, borderline, okay with people now, or he doesn't want people on his ass anymore. I don't know. It's just it seems ridiculous. I don't see the whole deal about him, doing something like that, especially with this whole idea of thinking everything's okay. Everything that he can just brush it off and just say, you know what, I'm done with it. But again, it's horrible. I mean, why would you want to? Why would you want to, put, a lot more people, through that? So it's a little different, it's a little, nerve wracking because, you don't want to see people go through that, especially actors and actresses. But then again, it's true. I mean, why the inequality? Why the borders? Why have people, go through such a deal and, make them feel, this way? It's just horrible. Before I wrap up the show, I wanted to, quickly discuss with you guys that the new Halloween film has just started production today. There's been new set photos that have been released online. You guys can go check them out. I will probably share them on, Twitter or Snapchat if you guys get a chance to. Go check it out. Halloween started production today, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer. I forgot that young woman's name from Orange is the New Black, but she's also in it. She's playing Jamie Lee's daughter. We're totally gonna ignore the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode, was killed in the previous Halloween films because we're just gonna ignore that. That's just how we do it now. But it's a mystery to me. It was one of the, my continuity, errors that I pointed out quickly because it just didn't make sense. Because why would we ignore something like that, especially if we all saw it happen? So there's that. Again, Danny McBride is involved with this, the crafting of the story and also directing. So this is very interesting to see. I'm very excited to see how this is happening. We got 9 months until Halloween. This movie's supposed to be coming out this year. I'm excited to see. I'll be excited when I see a teaser trailer or some more set photos come to piece and see how things pan out from there. It's going to be very exciting. I'm very excited and pumped and amped for this film because it's the return of Michael Myers. Who wouldn't want that? Especially in the theaters. I mean, it's as official as it'll ever get. So that's pretty much that on that topic. But going back to before I wrap up everything, before I wrap up this episode quickly, I did mention that Sylvester Stallone was a part of these alleged allegations also. I don't know how that's going to affect this next piece of news that I'm going to be telling you guys. Apparently, he's teasing the next Expendables 4. I don't know where you guys stand on this Expendables 4. I don't know are you guys sick and tired of the franchise now? We're 3 films in. Should we just let it go? I mean, should we just, wait and see what he has up in store? I don't know. I don't think I'm, very too convinced about how well to think that, something like this, especially with, with these allegations, him attached to, I don't think it's something that we could really say, hey, let's support it and let's just ignore what's going on. So I don't know. I mean, it's a little curious to me. I'm a little curious to see how things pan out with that. But again, this has been just amazing. I'm just glad to be back, doing the show this week. Finally get a chance to come back and, step it up, throw a show out. I will have a new show next week or next Saturday or Sunday, wrapping up the week's events. Should be a lot of things to cover this week. But again, thank you guys so much for, listening to the show. Again, the whole video in its entirety will be available on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram. I will provide you guys more updates during the week. You guys have a great week. I'll see you then.